What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a vintage Star Wars market update. We've got everything from ungraded items, baggies, and a few graded items, including some loose stuff. I think it's a good, nice budget assortment. Everything from very affordable to unaffordable. And before I dig in any further, I wanted to do a couple of housekeeping notes. First, I want to say congratulations to Seth Waldrop and David Grindstaff. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. You guys won the coin giveaways, the No Hero Left Behind Captain Rex collector medallions that were so kindly donated to the channel by Matthew C. and Eric B. So congratulations to you two guys. David, I know you got a package coming soon from Rogue 5 Toys, so I'm going to give it to Chris when he arrives in town this week for a convention, and I will ask him to include that in the box. Make sure you remind Chris, because he will forget. He's quite forgetful. He's got a lot going on right now. And then Seth, I need your mailing address. I sent you a message already, but if you could please email me at actionfiguregrader@gmail.com with your mailing address, and I'll drop that other coin in the mail to you. So congratulations all around, and thank you again to Matthew and to Eric for the channel giveaways. And let's dig into some vintage Star Wars goodness. There were a lot of interesting sales this past weekend, and one of them was this one, a 12-back A Princess Leia. It did have quite a bit of crushing going on with the blister, but it was nice and still fully sealed. The rest of it was unpunched, beautiful card. It's a shame that the blister was so crushed in, but as you can see there also, and something we've talked about at length on a lot of my market updates, Leia is very, very susceptible to torso yellowing, and as you can see, this figure has that going on right now. So this is probably at best, I'd say, a 70 grade, just because of the condition of the blister. That would be my guess as to what it would get. Still, it's a 12-back A Princess Leia. It's gorgeous. It sold for $615. I think that's a very, very fair deal, given that this is one of the original kind of releases, and it accounts for the condition issues, I think, pretty well. Down here at the bottom, you can see where the blister is starting to pull away right there. So it is not quite fully sealed. It's almost, let's call it 90% sealed. And chances are a 70 grade would be the best you could get with this one. I don't know. I don't know what it would score and how badly this would affect it combined with the bubble crushing. But it's a real shame because it's otherwise a really gorgeous item. But I think that's a pretty fair price. Here was another one this seller had. This one was a 12-back A SKU on the footer. These are the earliest of the early 12-backs, and that footer that Chewbacca is sitting on has a little SKU number on it. So that was the earliest one that you could get. It did have a little bit of sticker residue, a little bit of edge wear, but it was still unpunched. Awfully gorgeous. Probably the 75 plus, maybe an 80 grade. But wow, what an awesome item. Let's see if we can take a look at the back here. I'm going to guess it would get a 75 plus. That would be my guess on that. So a really nice early Chewbacca. That one's, and the price, of course, reflected that. It sold for $1,326 plus shipping on 29 bids. So congratulations to the bidder on that one. A few loose graded items are interspersed throughout here, so I kind of skip around here. I tried to go from early figures, first 12 figures, all the way to the droids line, and kind of combined them that way or presented them that way. I thought this was a great deal, and I was awfully tempted if it wasn't for the shipping. And actually, the shipping on this one wasn't too bad, so I have no excuse. I think this was a great price, though. This had the UKG brand new case style. How beautiful are the accessory cases on those new UKG cases? They opted for the dowels like AFA uses. CAS uses J-hooks. Me personally, I prefer the J-hooks, but a lot of collectors don't like the J-hooks. They like these better. But awfully pretty Han Solo large head. And this was a no COO. So most of the no COOs are going to be over in Europe, right? Because they were on Tri-Logos or Palitoy card backs. But it was graded 80%, and that sold for 69 pounds, 88 US dollars plus shipping. And this seller did not use the global shipping program. And as a result, the price for the shipping was about a third of what eBay charges. eBay charges, even for a loose graded figure, like $60 to $70. It's absolute insanity. But I think that 69 pounds or $88 was a pretty good buy there. And I told you that I'd cover every budget, and this is one I was awfully tempted on, despite the lack of photos. And that was an ungraded Death Star droid. And the seller says there's no cuts or nicks, and it's near mint. And the problem is his photo looks like it was taken underwater using a German camera, but the save card for the camera was a US card, so nothing worked really well, and it's just a really terrible photo. But it was awfully tempting. I mean, you know, you can't tell what's reflections and what's scratches, but he said it was no nicks or cuts. But I think if he had better photos, nice high-res photos, he would have gotten a lot more for this. But it sold for $26.88 plus shipping. You know, he probably would have gotten 45 bucks if it had truly been near mint. So who knows if he's trying to hide something or if it's just, you know, an inexperienced seller on eBay. But it's a lesson in, if you've got a near mint item, show the buyer that it's near mint. But either way, it's probably, you know, let's say it's probably like a 75 or 80 grade, and 26 bucks plus shipping is not a bad deal for a loose Death Star droid. On the other end of the spectrum was this one. This was a gorgeous hollow cheeks Tuscan Raider. You can see the little cheeks have the hollow divots. It's one of the more desirable variants for the Tuscan Raider. There's obviously the long eye tubes. There's these hollow eye tubes. There's the dark brown paint, which this one has, or the light brown paint. There's a POC. There's all kinds of different variations for the Sand People. And this one was graded 80 plus by Collector Archive Services. Really nice, really nice hollow cheeks. That sold for $410 US. And I think that's a pretty good deal. I think that's a pretty good deal. We've documented a few AFA 85 graded examples on these market updates where the prices approach $600 to $800, $600 to $800 for one. And I think CIB over, you know, who's affiliated with AFA, they always command the big prices because they ship worldwide. So it attracts the sharks because, or the whales, I should say, because they know that they're a trustworthy seller. And anytime those guys list a hollow cheeks in high grade, those things really go for big money. But I think $410 is a pretty good deal in my opinion. Next up, we had a beautiful Palitoy Lando Calrissian. It's got that gorgeous Palitoy logo. It did have a slightly yellowed blister with some denting in there. It was graded 70% by UKG, a yellowed 70. 70 for the card, 75 for the blister. Figure was 85. This is the no smile or the no teeth version of Lando. Probably a Palitoy no COO figure. Unpunched card, but you know, it was graded 70, and the price stayed down as a result. Now, if this had been like an 80 with a clear blister, this thing probably would have sold for at least double. At least double is my guess. It sold for 505 pounds or $648 US. But, you know, any ESB with the Palitoy logo on the front like that, they're not very plentiful, and they command big money, even on Facebook. I mean, I see like IG88 or Bosk or one of those, they can go for $1,500 or more. So I think that's a pretty fair price for what it is. Here was another one I really wanted to bid. I did bid on one, so I'll show you that a little bit later. But I was tempted to bid on this one. I really wanted to, because this is one I want for my Yoda collection. I've got 3 mint on card Yodas, but one I'm missing still is the 32 back Canadian Yoda. And this was a pretty nice example. Had a couple of little dings on the blister, but you know, here's the wrinkle right there on the left-hand side of the top of the blister. But great condition overall. Great condition. Let me show you the back of this card. It's just gorgeous. It was unpunched. It had the Laguerre des Etoiles fully shown because it's unpunched. And these Canadian cards continue to go up in price. This same seller had one that was not quite as good condition as this that sold in the 580 range a few weeks back. The same seller always has the hot Canadian cards, and this one sold for $711. I would have paid that all day long. All day long. The problem was there was another mint on card that was ending about an hour later, so I wanted to wait. I wanted to wait and see if I could get the other one, and it was heartbreaking. It was a heartbreaking, stinging loss for Action Figure Grader, but I'm going to document it on the channel just in case one of you want it, so you can gloat to me in the comments. And before I dig in any further, if you have a collection that you want to sell, and you don't want to deal with the hassle or the fees or the taxes now that eBay reports your sales, reach out to me. You can reach out to me at actionfiguregrader@gmail.com. I know a lot of really big money sellers, and I just provide it as a service to my subscribers. I don't make any money on it. I don't charge anything for it, but I do connect sellers and buyers. I just helped a friend of mine complete a $30,000+ purchase of some items. So I'm here for you. Let me know. You can always reach me by email. I'm happy to connect you very quickly And then I stay away. I step out and step away, and you guys can conduct business privately. So let me know if you need some help. Next up, this was a really cool one. This one was a 6-pack of baggies. And I'm assuming that these were for, some kind of Empire Strikes Back play set of some sort. And it had Han Hoth, 21B, the Ugnaught, Lobot, Dengar, and Han Bespin. And they were some beautiful baggies. Absolutely gorgeous. And let's see. The only baggie that was not sealed was the 21B. That one has an opening at the top and was taped to the top. The rest of them are apparently still factory sealed, and they were in gorgeous condition, nice clean ink on the front of the baggie, which is always the challenge, right? It's always hard to find some of these older baggies where the Kenner made in Hong Kong or whatever baggie version it is, it's still in good condition. But these look factory fresh. I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous baggies. These sold for $1,000 on 38 bids. I think that's a fair price, honestly. If you've tracked baggies at all, and I've thought about doing a market update, let me know what you guys think. A market update only on baggies, graded and ungraded, because the baggie market, I think, is an underserved market, or not underserved, but a market that is under the radar, because it takes a certain kind of collector to want baggies. You almost have to be into grading action figures if you have baggies. There's no easy way to display them, and it's not cheap to grade baggies either. It's more expensive than grading a loose figure. Surprisingly, it's not much more, but a little bit more. So, I think baggies, it's a certain kind of collector that likes them. I've only got a few. I've got maybe 5 to 10 of them, but I do think that they're a cool kind of niche market. If you want to see a beautiful collection of baggies, go check out Chris W. from Rogue 5 Toys on Instagram. His Instagram is @prune_productions, @prune_productions. He's got one of the most amazing baggie collections I've ever seen. I think he's got like 75 or 80 or more graded baggies. So check that out. Here's another one that was awfully tempting. This was a clear blister Canadian 47-back free 4-lam offer of the TIE Fighter pilot. And I've got 3 or 4 mint on card TIE Fighter pilots, and this is one that I don't have. And it was awfully tempting. It had a little bit of edge wear there, as you can see on the left-hand side, but a pretty clean example. The pictures were not great overall, as you can see. It's a lot of close-ups, but you can't see the whole card all at once. Even here, it's cutting off the bottom of the card. So you're taking a little bit of risk here. But this is one of the more unique Canadian cards with how it's presented, the 4-lam offer is presented. It's shown in French as well as English at the bottom there. And the La Guerre des Etoiles is not as attractive as on the 32-back Yoda that I just showed you. A little bit of creasing there, as you can see in the upper, or spider veining, I should say, in the upper corner there. But overall, a really nice, clean example of the Canadian TIE Fighter palette on the 47-back. And the 47-back was his debut card, by the way. So that's, and I don't know, maybe there's an earlier one for the Canadian, but at least in the U.S., the debut card is this 47 4-lam offer. This one sold for $560. I thought that was a great price, a really great price. For a U.S. near mint 47-back TIE Fighter palette, we just documented one a few months back that sold for over $1,000, I believe. Again, I'm going on memory, so don't quote me. Here was another nice one. This is a 48A back Cloud Car pilot. This is one I've got coming back soon from grading, and wait till you see it. It's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait to show it to you. This was a clear blister, it looked like. A little bit of edge wear around the hanger tab, so a little bit of wear there, and that would hold back the score. Probably would score a 75 at best, just given that wear and the crease there above the blister. That still sold for $290. I think that's a pretty good price for what it is. Pretty decent deal. And here was another one I liked. This is a 48-back Revenge of the Jedi, and this was a mail-away offer for Admiral Akbar. More on that later on. And this was a yellowed blister of the Luke Hoth, but really clean card overall. It did have the KB toy sticker, and it was punched, but a really nice example. And, Luke Hoths in general, they do command pretty big money. You can see where the sticker, the offer sticker that they slap on the back of the 48 backs, has got some wrinkle going on. So, that would detract a little bit on the score. Probably a 75 plus, maybe an 80 if you're lucky. I think it'd probably get an 80. It depends on who's grading and whether they had indigestion from lunch, but I think they would probably get an 80. It'd be close. But anyway, that's all for $389.95. I think that's a pretty good price. Now, if this had been a clear blister, you could more than double that price easily. This would be 800 plus all day long. So, really nice example for the Luke Hoth. Another Revenge of the Jedi free Admiral Akbar offer is this clear blister Forlom on the Revenge of the Jedi card. So I got my character and the mail away mixed up there. This was unpunched, a little bit of edge wear, but not much. Really clean overall. The weapon did come loose from inside, but probably an easy 80 grade overall. Gorgeous, gorgeous card. And it was listed for 450 pounds. It sold for 577. I knew this wouldn't last long on the market. I put it on my watch list with no intention of buying it. I just wanted to see how long it would take to sell, and it sold in about 2 hours. So really pretty item though, and I think if it had been in the US, I would have been a little bit more tempted, but you know, it's another $80 on top of that for using the global shipping program. But I think that's a pretty good deal though. I mean, graded, you know, 80 graded and above, clear blister, you're probably talking 800 plus, probably closer to $1,000. Now, as I mentioned, the Admiral Akbar was the mail away on those 48 C-backs, and this is what you'd get if you'd send in some proofs of purchase. This is a sealed mail away Admiral Akbar. It did have that little sticker on there that would potentially come up with some letter fluid or something, but the tape had yellowed a little bit, but probably an overall 80 if you were to, you know, have the graders open the contents and grade it uncirculated. And you know, graded, they can go for pretty good money, and even this price I think surprised me a little bit. I thought it would stay closer to $200. It sold for $241.50 plus shipping, so about $250. That's a pretty good price. It probably would score 80, and then whatever the contents would score, but 80 at best because of the slight damage to that box, but pretty good deal. All right, now here's the item that I bid on. I bid on this pretty hard. I really was going to go after it because this is a tough one to find. This is the Cloud Car on the 48 back transition Return of the Jedi. And so when I say transition, only Empire Strikes Back and first 12 or first 21 figures appeared on this Return of the Jedi card back with the free Neon Numb offer. And it was a clear blister. The photos weren't great. But it looked like it would probably score an 80. It would be close. It did have a little bit of wear around the hang tab, a little bit of a spider vein there in that corner. But you know, beggars can't be choosers. You can't find clear blister Cloud Car pilots on that 48 Neon Numb offer very often. I do remember one that was listed for about $800 that was graded AFA 80. This is probably about a year ago, and it sold. It did sit for a while though. But anyway, I bid on this one. I bid on it pretty hard. I bid 578 and it sold for 588. So I just missed it, but it really stung. It really stung because I wanted this one for my Cloud Car run. I've got 4 of them so far, and the 2 I really want are this one and the 45 back Star Wars Display Arena offer, which is his debut card. So those are the 2 big ones that I'd like to add to my collection at some point, but I gave it a good college try, but I just couldn't do it, and it looks like I was the second place bidder. So whoever won it, if you're watching my channel, congratulations. It really stings to lose out on that one because that's one I've been looking for, and I probably should have bid higher, so it's my own fault. But you know, it was just on that borderline of 75 plus or 80, and I just wasn't sure what it would score. And I really want to get an 80 or above grade for that 48 back free Neon Numb offer. But it was a gorgeous item, and somebody got a pretty fair deal, I think. It wasn't a steal at 588, but you know, free shipping. You know, for me, after you know, what's the problem for me is that Tennessee, where I live, charges a sales tax because we don't have a state income tax, and the sales tax is 9.25%. So even at 578, which was my bid, I would have been paying closer to 625 or more, so 630 somewhere in there. So you know, I did the best I could. I think that my offer was about as fair as I could get, but it stings to only lose out by that much money because I really want this one a lot. So if anyone ever sees one come up, please tag me because that's one I'm really looking to get. Here was a good deal. I thought this was a clear blister Neon Numb. I thought this would go for a lot higher. You don't find this Emperor offer Return of the Jedi Neon Numb very often with a clear blister. It just does not happen anymore. And it was a gorgeous card. This was not a Lily Letty. This was a true U.S. Kenner card. As you can see here at the bottom, near that proof of purchase, this is figures made in Hong Kong, and it doesn't have that hole punch on the back of the card that was applied by the factories in the Lily Letty factory. So it would have that hole punch, and it would say figure made in Mexico if this was the Mexican version. And the back of the card is more of a matte finish. It's not quite so glossy like the U.S. cards. But there is a Lily Letty version of Neon Numb on this Return of the Jedi card back. But this was a true U.S. one, and it had the clear blister. I think that was a great deal, $197.50. Just very minor defects around the hang tab there, but I would have paid that all day long. I thought that was a great deal. A few loose graded items that sold. Here was a pretty good deal on a Taiwan COO General May-Dean. Really nice, brand new case style. That was sold for $77. AFA 80, pretty good deal. Another $7 shipping, but man, that's 84 bucks for that. It's a great deal. And this was another nice deal. This was a no COO Emperor's Royal Guard graded AFA 85. This was the old style case, but this is the no COO, which is a much more difficult figure to find. He only came on the Tri-Logos, which is an extremely expensive mint on card. I mean, you're talking $2,000 for that in a near mint grade, or the Palitoy card backs, obviously. So very, very difficult COO version for the ERG to find, and especially in an 85 grade. So 122.50 I think is a pretty good deal for that. Next up, we had a baggie. This was another nice, real nice baggie I wanted to show on the channel. It sold for a little bit more. I was kind of thinking about it, but it just was not the right timing for me. But this was a sealed baggie, really clean ink on the baggie of Bib Fortuna, and nice condition overall. You know, probably an 85 in terms of condition, and that was sold for 145. I was thinking it'd be closer to 100 bucks, but you know, I think just people bid it up because the condition was so nice, and it's a heat sealed baggie, so you don't have to worry if the tape is fake or if it's been double taped or any of that kind of stuff. So I prefer to, if I'm going to get any loose baggies, I prefer to get the heat sealed baggies, just because you know they're legit unless they fake the baggie. And for some of these Return of the Jedi characters, no one's going to go, or very few people are going to go to the effort of faking a baggie like this. They'd fake Princess Leia or a Luke Skywalker or somebody like that. That's a notoriously expensive baggie. They're not going to spend the time, most likely, faking a Return of the Jedi character like Bib Fortuna or somebody like that. But anyway, that's what it sold for, $145.50. Here was a graded Ewok Village. Wow. Good luck finding space for that. My buddy, that one time, who's a fellow YouTuber, he's got this graded by CAS. I mean, I don't know where you store something this big, but awfully cool to see anyway. It was graded AFA 75, and you can see just a little bit of wear on the sticker there on the box, but pretty awesome piece, pretty awesome item. That sold for $862 plus another $50 shipping. I can tell you that shipping charge is way less than what it's really going to cost to ship this bad boy, because it is a big box. But I think that's a pretty fair deal. That same seller that had the 32 back Canadian Yoda had this Canadian Princess Leia, just very minor yellowing to the blister too, so pretty good shape. A little bit of crinkle down there in the lower left-hand corner of the card back, but a pretty gorgeous example of that Canadian Leia in her Endor outfit. That sold for $174.40. I think that's a good price. Next up, we had a Tri-Logo B-Wing pilot. Only Juan Kenobi, who is known for TVC, I think he just bought one of these. But this was a nice example, just very minor wear to it. It had that infamous KB overstock. Let's get rid of all the inventory at the end of the success of the Kenner line. They were dumping these in U.S. markets 2 for $1. What a deal. And that was a nice example where the blister was actually still in relatively good shape. Those Tri-Logos are really known for having fragile blisters, but that was a really nice example of it. It only sold for 150 bucks. I thought that was a steal of a deal. Steal of a deal for an unpunched B-Wing pilot on the Palitoy Tri-Logo card back. That's just a steal. I wish I had bought that now. Here was an AFA 70 Power of the Force R2-D2 pop-up lightsaber. It was graded 70 again. 70, 70, 80 were the subscores. Archival case, very dark yellow blister, which often happens with these Power of the Force figures, but it's a last 17, and last 17 command big money. That sold for $1,005 plus $13.65 shipping. Pretty nice example overall, but I think the lower score obviously helped keep the price down. Now, if this had been like an 80 with a, you know, maybe a lighter tint to the blister, you could probably double that price. You could probably double that price or come pretty close to it. That same seller again in Canada, or the Canadian item seller over in Washington, he had this beautiful La Guerre des Étoiles Droids R2-D2 pop-up. Absolutely gorgeous. This might be like the 15th one he sold, but he keeps popping them out. I swear he's got like some kind of time machine, and he goes back really quick in his DeLorean, picks up 5, comes back here to 2022 and sells them. I mean, it's unbelievable how many he has. And this was an unpunched example. Yellow blister, obviously, but man, that is a gorgeous one. That sold for $1,211. That's at the upper end of where this has been selling, but the condition reflects that. I mean, you know, usually they have a little bit of creasing or something like that, and that'll bring the price closer to $1,000. But given that beautiful condition of that Droids R2-D2, that's easily an 80 plus, potentially even an 85. And wow, what an item. This is not vintage, but it ended last night and I had to show it to you. What an insane final sales price on a Gentle Giant Jumbo Yoda first shot prototype. So this is an unpainted Gentle Giant Yoda. Look at that thing. That is, this thing's like I don't even know how big it is, but it's got to be gigantic. I mean, it's probably at least, I mean, it is Yoda, right? So you got to factor that in. But the standard size characters are what, like 18 inches? So this has got to be at least, what, 10 to 12 inches tall. I mean, it's huge. But this is a really cool first shot prototype. But look at that sales price, $690. And the funny thing is that it sat at like, whatever it was, 40 or 50 bucks until right at the end. So clearly there were two people that really wanted this prototype. And that price was pretty eye-opening for a modern prototype Gentle Giant unpainted first shot Yoda. So pretty wild to see. Anyway, that's all I really had for this market update. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at a pretty nice wide assortment of items. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.